Hi, welcome back to Jonesy Chats Wrestling. We're back once again this week to discuss last night's Monday Night Raw, and I'm joined by my co-host at the moment, none other than from the channel SCW, Steve. How are you this fine afternoon, Steve?
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's go home week, isn't it, for Elimination Chamber? So big Raw this week, lots to discuss, and yeah, looking forward to it as always.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me
definitely.
on.
We're definitely on the road to WrestleMania. So as always, let's start with the fun fact for the day. So today in history, we're going all the way back to 1997. In Your House 13 today took place. It was the final four, and the Hitman Hart managed to win the world title against Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vader, and The Undertaker. Any memories of that fantastic match?
Yeah, one of my favorite In Your House shows, actually. I really enjoy that one, particularly, like you said, the main event. And I also, it's a slight sort of personal thing, but I remember actually really wanting that on VHS for Christmas when I was a child. So I remember that I watched this on Christmas Day, I think 97. So yeah, this is a fun throwback to me. I really enjoy this one.
I think it's a great prelude to the Stone Cold Steve Austin Bret Hart match we got a month later at WrestleMania. But no, a fantastic match. I'm definitely gonna have to go back and watch this pay-per-view again. It brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, the follow-on there with Bret Hart and Steve Austin, it's iconic, isn't it? One of the best Mania matches of all time.
Yeah, it is definitely. We're now going to go into this Raw review. So today's show, just really going to cover Raw today. Going to go into the Go Home Show, obviously Elimination Chamber. Just cover our thoughts as always. Please, if you've enjoyed the content so far, drop a like or drop some comments below, and it helps make things fun. We'll certainly interact with you in the comments, that's for sure. So moving forward, then, so this week's Raw starts as always from the Tropicana Field in Tampa Bay, Florida. The show opens up. We got the intro back this week, which I was happy about. Are you happy to see the intro back every week? I quite enjoy it when they play the intro.
Yeah, I mean, you need the intro for a show. I mean, it's like when you watch anything, it's always you're supposed to get pumped by the intro. I mean, it's not my favorite Raw theme of all time, but I would say that from when I was very sour about it when it first came along, it has grown on me somewhat. I much prefer having it than not. And it's definitely a song I think over time that's got better.
Yeah, I agree. I was the same as you. I think when it first came, I wasn't a particularly fan, but it's synonymous now. I want to see it every single week. I really like it. It's grown on me, which is good. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the show started up with Miz TV with Drew McIntyre. This was largely a segment built up basically to get the Miz out of the Elimination Chamber match. It was kind of a fun segment. Obviously, the Miz is taking himself out of Elimination Chamber, and he's obviously going to be trying to protest to get somebody else in the spot. He obviously insulted Drew. Miz was so arrogant that Drew ended up headbutting him. My thoughts for this segment: it was a fun segment. It was quick. Really clever on WWE's part to get the Miz out of this match. He had no reason to be in it. So I think credit to WWE, that was smart. And I think Miz, when he's at annoyingness, is really good. He's becoming one of my favorite heels on the roster, strangely. What were your thoughts of the segment, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, this was a Miz TV that we like to see. Some of the stuff that we've seen with John Morrison and Lacey, not because of the fact of themselves, but how they've been booked to act. It's been kind of bad comedy, but this was Miz with a game plan, strategic, trying to be the opportunist and realizing here that he has nothing to gain by being in this match, so he's going to take himself out of it. He has the briefcase. Why go through a big hour-long gauntlet match to get yourself last in the chamber, to go through that still horrible structure when you have a championship match guaranteed? It makes no sense. Like you say, from a booking standpoint, probably WWE realised the mistake they've made. They were clever by addressing it, and this was a fun and good way to go about it. And I did love the way that Miz sort of evolved in this, because like you say, he was very cocky at the start of it, got himself held batty, but that kind of psychotic side towards the end of it, the way he kind of, manipulated himself to come out of the match, I thought was very well done.
Yeah, it was really well done. I think they've got to do this for the Miz. I think clearly he's never going to be everyone's favorite cup of tea or favorite wrestler. So I think it's a good idea to get his annoyingness over. And the fact you're getting him out of the match, I was a fan of this. So obviously we then go into this backstage segment. We've obviously got Matt Riddle backstage, or Riddle with Kalisto and Grand Metalik. Lucha House Party. It was an interesting, fun segment. Riddle was coming out with just random lines. He's getting more and more crazy week by week. What were your thoughts of this segment? Did you enjoy it, or did you find it tedious?
I mean, I usually find Riddle stuff quite tedious, but I must admit I found this one at least tolerable, I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it was okay. It's great to get Riddle kind of on the camera. The Lucha House Party, interesting combination. Riddle's just he's a bit out there at the moment, which is kind of interesting. But this obviously led to this next 6-man tag match. So we had obviously Lucha House Party and Riddle facing the Hurt Business, MVP Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin, the tag team champions. This was a very fun match. Didn't go very long, and crucially, Riddle got the pinfall and he got it on MVP. My thoughts of this. Very, very good match. I really kind of enjoyed it. I think the booking of Riddle in this match at this point was very, very good. He had to get the windfall going into this coming Sunday's title match against Bobby Lashley. And I think the fact he pinned MVP was good. Nobody got hurt by him getting pinned. So this obviously happened, and it was obviously entertaining. What were your thoughts on the match before we go into what happened next with this segment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good match. I want to give a shout out to Josh Hayes. I know he's a big Grand Metalik fan, so I'm also a big Grand Metalik fan. So it's good to see him on Raw, and smooth as always. The Lucha House Party are so good in the ring with what they do. I enjoyed the 6-man tag team match. I thought it delivered. It needed what it needed. It did what it needed to do. Sorry,
it definitely did what it needed to do. I agree. It did what it needed to do. Yeah. You need to have Riddle going into this Sunday looking strong. An interesting, obviously, point. Obviously, Riddle leaves. It looks like he's got the momentum. He's going into Elimination Chamber on a bit of a high. He then gets attacked by Bobby Lashley. This is a point for me where this segment, it makes no fucking sense. I'm sorry. You want to build up Riddle to be a competitive contender. And the fact that they've undone all that good work, like minutes later, by Bobby Lashley attacking him, it doesn't make me excited for this Sunday. What were your thoughts of the Lashley attack, and did you kind of enjoy it?
I agree with you. I think you give Riddle momentum and you've immediately took it away and give it to Lashley. Lashley's so over at this point, so dominant. I needed just some belief that Riddle has a chance this Sunday. But the second he can beat MVP, he can beat the rest of the Hurt Business, the second he's put in front of Lashley, he doesn't stand a chance. That's the way he's been portrayed. I wonder if that means a good thing for him in 50-50 booking terms this Sunday. But what I would say is at this point, this was the part of the segment where I had a slight disconnect.
I agree with you. I think an interesting note is there are rumours going around today that Keith Lee may not be in that triple threat on Sunday, so this could be a one-on-one match. What do you think the impact of Keith Lee not being around will have in this match? Does it still make you excited for it, or are you kind of disappointed?
I would be disappointed. I think Keith Lee is the wild factor in this match of what way is it going to go. When it's a straight one-on-one match, as I said, there's no belief Riddle can win the match. But with Keith Lee there, you have a safe way of taking the belt off of Lashley without him getting pinned. You can build something with Lashley and Keith Lee going forward if you wanted to. There's lots of different ways you can book it, and it feels a lot more exciting as a triple threat match, in my opinion.
Definitely. I think it's interesting. I just think interesting to note the way they're booking it. Do we actually think that this coming Sunday, Riddle's going to do the unthinkable and actually beat Bobby Lashley? Do you think they're going to do that? I think it'll be the biggest shock ever, wouldn't it?
It's the way it's been portrayed. It would be a massive surprise. It'd almost be like 1, 2, 3 Kid and Razor Ramon at this point, the way it's been booked. But what I would say is that Riddle gets a lot of TV time. He's clearly liked with the fact he's getting that amount of TV time, whether it's, stupid lines before matches or having matches themselves. He did pick up the win this week. So it's not completely out of possibility. And the thing is, I think that's what makes it more exciting as a triple threat match is the unpredictability factor is there as all three of them. When it's one-on-one, we've seen it, and it's not really been great in the past. It's portrayed as one as dominant, one as weak. So, yeah, you can reverse it on the pay-per-view, but still, I don't know. I'm not as excited as a one-on-one.
Definitely. Moving forward, then we had the Miz backstage. He's talking to Adam Pearce. Miz said he wants somebody to take his spot. That person's up and coming in young. It's John Morrison. Fun segment. I'm going to give you some credit, Steve. On the previous podcast we've done, you said there's a bigger storyline arc with Adam Pearce. I'm with you now, 100%. Looking at the way he's always looking at his phone, I give you your credit. What were your thoughts of this fun segment with The Miz and Adam Pearce?
I loved it. I love the trollness of John Morrison being an up-and-comer and the former ECW world champion that he is. But no, I liked it. I think the way this was put together, like we said, I mean, Miz is kind of trying to get himself here in the good books of Adam Pearce, suggesting that he's got the right candidate for the role. But the fact is as well, I mean, this superstar has just pulled himself from the match. I mean, it does undermine the authority of a match. I mean, arguably, if you wanted to, you could turn around and say, well, can't anyone do it on the roster then? That they're taking themselves. Is it because it's a championship match that it's allowed to be done? There is a little bit of, where you look with it, that it's undermining Adam Pearce's authority. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting story. I'm interested to see who he's talking to on the phone. And as I said, this seems to be happening to Adam Pearce. So people can seem to do what they want, which is interesting. Clearly, he's not the boss, it seems.
No, he's been portrayed as the official, but GM, he's not. And maybe he's on the phone with Shane McMahon. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know that. We then had a backstage segment. Mandy Rose was talking to Bad Bunny. Damian Priest was there. It was just basically a segment based to get Bad Bunny's merchandise over. That's what I took from it. A fun part that obviously happened after she went away. Damian Priest obviously turned up. They were speaking Spanish. They mentioned that Bad Bunny's on Saturday Night Live this coming week. And then the 24/7 title was kind of taking place. It ended up with Tozawa basically bumping into Priest. Priest then tossed him into some crates. And Bunny pinned Tozawa to leave the 24/7 title. My thoughts on this. There is a positive, there's a negative. So we'll go to the positive. Positive, it's great that they're getting the 24/7 title probably on Saturday Night Live. That's good. It's going to get it out there. My only concern with this, which is a slight negative, you don't really want to reduce Bad Bunny to a comedy. The 24/7 title and anybody associated with it never really recovers. So it could be a bad mistake. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like you said, getting the merch over. I'm okay with Bad Bunny being the one winning the 24/7 title, but I don't want Damian Priest around there. He's very young into his main roster appearances to be around that sort of area. But Priest was the one that did the damage. Bunny's the one that got the belt. And like you said, I think this is a 1 week gig, maybe even Bunny loses the belt on Saturday Night Live to R-Truth. Maybe that's what they're going to look to do. But it's great for publicity. WWE, of course, have got Bad Bunny to now have their championship when he's on Saturday Night Live. It reminds me almost of something like 15, 20 years ago with like John Cena and The Rock being on Saturday Night Live. Those were a big deal back then when wrestling was arguably relevant. And this is probably the closest it's going to be to having that, because Bad Bunny, being the big celebrity that he is, coming in, being such a fan of WWE, wanting to be around the product, have a match. This really helps everyone involved here, and seems like Bad Bunny's doing WWE a favor here. So this seems win-win to me. I don't see a loss in this, and as long as Bad Bunny's not holding the belt for months on end, maybe loses the belt on Saturday night, maybe loses next week on Raw, then I think job's well done. Put Bad Bunny, Damian Priest back in that with Miz and Morrison.
I think you make a great point on Damian Priest. I think really, really good analysis there on that. I agree with it. We then obviously had this fun segment. We had Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods backstage. They walk up to Adam Pearce. Kofi notes he's a former WWE World Champion, and basically he asks for a slot in the Elimination Chamber. They ends up with the Miz turning up, and this ends up with Adam Pearce booking Kofi Kingston versus the Miz later in the show. What were your thoughts on this segment? I thought it was a good one.
But the fact, I think I've seen Kofi versus Miz about 100 times in the past. It was 2010 all over again. But the stakes on the match made me really want to see the match. I love the idea that Miz is, of course, trying to fend for John Morrison. But Kofi Mania, this was when it happened a few years ago. And even though, let's be fair, I don't think anyone believes Kofi Mania 2 is actually going to happen here. The idea that Kofi could be put in this chamber made a lot of sense. And I think Kofi and Xavier made a great point that Kofi Kingston is a more recent WWE champion than 4 participants in this chamber. Why was he not considered before? It makes a lot of sense here that Kofi would be, you know, someone that should be in this match. He was a champion for 6 months, definitely a deserving spot. So, no, I'm totally on board with everything that was done here. I even found the bit with Xavier Woods begging for the match of Reckoning again. I found that quite funny also.
Yeah. No, I think it was interesting. I think it's good to sort of tease that Kofi may be in the match. Yeah, no, it was fun. We then obviously had this tag team match. It was Oscar Charlotte Flair versus Peyton Royce, Lacey Evans, Ric Flair. This was obviously a no contest. What it ended up happening was there was a lot of it was quite a technical move for parts. It was certainly better than the singles match last week. By the end of this, we then had Lacey Evans saying she's pregnant, and obviously that's how it ended. So obviously it's out there. It's a crazy kind of storyline. The fact of it though is Lacey Evans is pregnant in real life, so this is going to basically be a way, I'm guessing, to, I don't know where they go next with this storyline. I think it's an interesting sort of turn of events. What I would predict they're probably going to do is I can see Peyton Royce going with Ric Flair and doing all the work with Charlotte, potentially continue this feud. What was your thought of that shocking announcement that Lacey's pregnant?
Well, at first I thought it was storyline. So
I thought it was storyline as well at first.
I completely hated it when I first heard of the storyline aspect. Now I know that it's genuine. Obviously, now we've seen the reports and stuff. It does also show sometimes that maybe we jump the gun when we actually have reactions and stuff. Because I thought to myself, this is the part I'm going to slate when we come on here. But I can't slate it because it's real. And Lacey shouldn't be taking bumps. She wasn't involved in the match at all. No. The only thing I didn't like about this was the fact that it was implied that Ric Flair was the father. And I must admit, I've done a few of Ric Flair's dance moves in the past, the way he was doing on Raw there. But to be honest, really, that was my favourite part of the time of the segment. But like you said, how are they going to get out of this? Because they haven't changed that championship match for Elimination Chamber. Like you said, it could be some sort of bad skit that we can have with Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans and Oscar. But I think Peyton Royce actually is a great way to go, and I like your suggestion a lot.
Thank you. I agree. I think when I first saw it and it was announced, I kind of thought, oh, this is an awful storyline. This is WCW 2000 when who's the father? David Flair or what? I thought it was that again. But as I said, interesting to see which way they go. I'm just intrigued to see how they kind of get themselves out of it. It was strange they've kept this kind of going up to kind of now, and it's a quick turnaround. I'm just interested to see where they can kind of go next really with this. But no, I hope it all goes well, and I hope kind of Ric Flair is still on TV. I'm enjoying his work as a heel. He's always such a good heel. He always makes people want to hate him to a certain point, which I'd like to see continue.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he offers a lot of guidance and knowledge and stuff, and he can help the stars with tomorrow. I do think the partnership with Lacey Evans, providing they weren't doing this sort of intimate style. That was what was putting me off a lot of the time. But the fact that Ric Flair's actually trying to help superstars of tomorrow, he doesn't need to help Charlotte Flair. He doesn't need to be in her corner. But someone like Lacey and someone like Peyton can really benefit from, getting guidance for, the dirtiest player in the game. The question is what they're going to do between now and Sunday. Will they actually change the match? Will they make an announcement? I hope we get some form of announcement before the pay-per-view, because it seems very messy at this point, the way it's been left.
I agree with everything you said with that. I think that's what they should do. Surely they should have used last night's Raw. I know you've got to change things around, but they should have created an alternative match for the title, shouldn't they? I would have thought that they would have done that, but I just hope we get that some sort of title match on the card. I just think it's a shame, really, to not have Asuka defend the belt at another pay-per-view, because clearly, obviously, back at TLC, she didn't defend the belt at sort of the Royal Rumble. She was in that tag match. She didn't defend the belt again. It's just one of them kind of things, really. I think they need to start defending the belt. But yeah, it's just a bit of a shock, really. But I'm sure they'll move quick. I'm sure we'll get some announcement on WWE.com probably this week, I guess.
Hopefully.
We then had this match between Kofi Kingston and The Miz. The winner gets the sort of entry into the Elimination Chamber. This was a fun match. It did what it kind of needed to do. Kofi got the win. Very happy with Kofi in the Elimination Chamber instead of The Miz. Fantastic choice. Only small kind of concern I've got with it was there was no real mention of Retribution at all, which I thought it's almost like they've dropped that storyline. But my prediction, I'm calling it now, is on Sunday, Kofi Kingston will be taken out of the chamber and Ali will take his place. And I think they'll do that as sort of payback to so many years ago when the same happened to Ali originally. What's your thoughts?
That's a fantastic suggestion. I must admit, I didn't think of that because I've recorded my predictions for Elimination Chamber already, but I really like the idea of that. And I really hope that happens, because that would make a lot of sense. Because, I mean, Ali, he lost his spot to Kofi Mania. So that would be perfect. I have to condemn, I have to just say well done on that. I have nothing more to add after that, because it's all I want to happen. But Kofi Mania, it was the right decision to get another baby face rather than a heel in the chamber. It was very heel heavy in that Raw side. Now we've got 3 baby faces, 3 heels. But if Ali takes a spot, hey, I love it.
Yeah, definitely. We then had a sort of a fun promo with Randy Orton. Randy Orton was doing a promo. He said he's going to win the gauntlet match. He mentioned the Fiend by name. He said he'll be in the ring with 5 victims. A really strong promo from Randy. Really kind of enjoyed his work. I love his work recently. I think on the mic, he really connects. And he's done really, really good with this promo. What were your thoughts of his promo?
Yeah, I think it did what it needed to do. It was enjoyable, as always, really. You can't go wrong.
To add to the promo, obviously he's doing his promo. It's very strong. We then get a strange interaction from Alexa Bliss. She's in the Firefly Funhouse, and there's a video showing Orton lighting the Fiend. Bliss did one of her promos. She's in almost like a pentagram or something. She's there, obviously laughing hysterically. It looks like she's reformed again to something different. Great to see Alexa Black this week. What was your thoughts of the promo and stuff and the interruption?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for me, it was very standard Randy Orton until we got to this point, and then all of a sudden, I was engaged to what was going on. This is what I want to see with the turns of Alexa Bliss and the Fiend Bray Wyatt, because to be honest, the spooky stuff, the supernatural cinematic stuff we've seen in ring through January, it's for some, but it's not for me. But the way that this was done, this was psychological. It really had an impact and it felt believable. So for me, I really enjoyed the way that this was done. We're definitely working towards the Fiend coming back, and perhaps it looks like it's going to be a different variation, more unstoppable than ever. And the way that Alexa Bliss delivers her character, despite the fact if I'm not a fan of the way things are done, Alexa Bliss always delivers everything to perfection. So yeah, great job all around here.
I'd agree with you. I think you make some really, really good points. I think the thing with it, it's great to see her back after last week. I think the only thing that kind of disappoints me a little bit is it's very hard to really get invested with this storyline when certain weeks she's not there and stuff. But I think this is great. I really like this. I think for me, for it to go to that next level up, she needs to really do the heel turn. I think she needs to go full on heel alongside the Fiend. But it's great to see her back. I really enjoyed the interaction. And credits to WWE. They've done a fantastic job of making people want to see the Fiend back, really. I think they've done a great job of keeping sort of Bray off TV. And I think when he does come back, it's certainly going to be impactful. I'm getting the feeling we're going to get Kane 1997 when he debuts. We're going to get that type of build. Are you getting similar vibes?
I am, yeah. Or perhaps even Kane 2003 vibes, you know, when had obviously all the changes then had to take his mask off and he became just unstoppable once again throughout the rest of 2003. So I'd like to see that kind of vibe, that kind of Fiend come back. We definitely need a variation and, you know, a new form of a monster that seems even more frightening than before.
100% agree with you. I think obviously going into kind of the next segment, it was Shayna Baszler versus Lana. This was actually a match. Obviously, we've got one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions in Shayna facing Lana, number 1 contender. This was an okay match. Baszler got the win, which I was happy with. They seemed to drop the whole thing quite a lot. There wasn't a massive mention of that apart from a segment earlier on in the night. And this is obviously changing last week. Last week, Lana got the win over Jax. This week she loses to Baszler. Right person won for me. Have you got anything else you want to add about this one?
I think the right person won. I think that the match was actually better than expected. Is it me or is Lana improving in the ring? I really think that her work has improved over recent months.
I think she's getting a bit more solid in the ring. Definitely, I think her ability is getting better. Obviously, the more she's in the ring, from where she was originally as just sort of a manager and just a valet, I think she's definitely light years away from that now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that she's definitely elevating herself further up the card. So I think a bit of praise needs to come to Lana after this performance. And I don't know, despite the fact that it seems a bit messy with the storyline being going on for so long, I will turn around and say that I am invested in this tag team match. I'm looking forward to it going down.
Yeah, I'm interested when it is. I don't know if it'll be at I don't know if it'll be at the pay-per-view, maybe. Elimination, maybe it'll be at the pay-per-view, but I'm not too sure. But either way, it'll be fun. And whoever wins this is obviously going to face probably Dakota Kai and Gonzalez. I'm guessing that'll be probably pretty obvious. But you got anything else you want to add before we move forward?
No, I'm set. I'm ready for the next spot.
Probably one of the most fun moments of the night. This really got my attention. There was a backstage scene with Adam Pearce. He's on the phone yet again. Braun Strowman then walks up, the returning Braun Strowman. He looks really, really menacing. He says that he should be in the sort of Elimination Chamber. Adam's get out of jail free card was basically saying it was only for WWE champions. Obviously, Braun had the Universal title previously. It ends up with kind of Strowman warning Pearce to tell Shane McMahon to make this right, because if he doesn't, Braun is going to basically attack people. Fun segment. Great to see Braun back this week. I'm pretty sure he would have been in this Elimination Chamber if it wasn't for the issues that we alluded to on Saturday's podcast. What were your thoughts to see Braun back?
There's a few things I've got to say about this. First off, yeah, it's great to see Braun back after everything that's gone down. Brilliant to have him there. I love the get out of jail free card here with the Universal Champions are not allowed in. It's only WWE Champions only. Thank goodness, not even Goldberg could take this spot then, so that's good to know. But looking at it, yeah, I thought it was interesting with the interaction. They kind of picked up where they left off with Strowman and Adam Pearce, which was quite interesting. Again, Pearce slightly undermined, but Braun's focus here was focused on Shane McMahon. And I wonder if this is actually the WrestleMania match direction that we could be heading.
It will be interesting just to see if they do that. Clearly, as you said, Shane McMahon is pulling the punches. Could we see a Shane McMahon Adam Pearce match, almost like the Vince McMahon Shane McMahon match? Do you think we'll get something similar at WrestleMania potentially, or do you think Braun will be sort of the one taking the spots almost?
I feel after this week on Raw, it will be Braun versus Shane. But then I couldn't say that we couldn't get something with Shane and Adam Pearce down the line, because I kind of feel that the way it was done last week was almost that Adam Pearce's authority on both shows was kind of being tested, and it feels the same this week as well. Maybe there's something that naturally happens to GMs anyway, but just when he seems to be a lot more focused. And I'm sure on SmackDown, Sonya Deville will take the lead role at some point. It'll be interesting if Shane wants it on Raw as well. But one thing I definitely got out of this is that we will be definitely getting Braun Strowman in and around with Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree with you. I think you're spot on. I think it's great that they've carried on that storyline from when he got attacked in before. I think it's great continuity, which is credit to WWE in that respect. What I'd really like to do, my last thing on kind of Braun is, I'd really like to see him go down this heel road. If they need a heel opponent for Drew, and it's not Sheamus or Lashley, I think Braun would be a decent choice for me if he gets built up again.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I actually had that down as a prediction earlier this year, that Drew versus Braun for WrestleMania, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen at the moment, but definitely Braun could have that monster role. I think Drew versus Braun would be a fresh match as well. It'd be something I'd like to see somewhere down the line.
Definitely. We're now going to get to this main event. This is a gauntlet match. The winner will go in number 6 at the Elimination Chamber this Sunday. So really, really kind of excited about this. This is going to be very much what we're going to see on Sunday. Obviously, everybody's involved. The match starts, obviously, AJ Styles versus Kofi Kingston. Really, really fun match. They got a bit of time. Kind of enjoyed it. Interesting things were Almas was really violent to Woods, and that's the first time I've seen him kind of do an actual move. He did a choke slam, which was quite impressive, I thought. I thought it looked good. Obviously, almost got sent to the back. It ends up with sort of AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston kind of trading kind of moves. And obviously, if the phenomenal forearm gets done on Kofi, he's out. What were your thoughts of match 1 of this gauntlet?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have seen a bit of criticism in a couple of places that Kofi should have won, but I personally believe that, I mean, Kofi had already been in one match earlier.
I agree with you. I think you're spot on. I think Kofi has won once already. You want to keep AJ Styles strong because AJ's obviously not had a match, and you're spot on. Sorry, Steve, to interrupt you. Carry on, please.
No, that's totally fine. No, it's nice to know you agree, because I kind of feel AJ Styles here, he suits that journeyman role in this gauntlet match. And the match that we got following, I think, was absolutely spectacular. But just to quickly before we do, I agree with you of Almost. That was very fun with watching him and Xavier Woods. Definitely was something a bit different. It gives something fresh for that Almost character. And yeah, I was enjoying the whole first first match. I thought it was done pretty well.
I think it's very interesting just to see kind of which way they go, but it's great to see Kofi in there. Kofi obviously once was a world champion, as we said, so I think it'll be really good to see him kind of back in the card. But then obviously we've got match two. So match two obviously takes place. This is obviously a gauntlet again, and in the gauntlet this time, this is a rematch from TLC, and this one obviously is AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre. This was really, really good. I really, really kind of enjoyed it. Drew obviously coming in as the champion. AJ obviously off his second match. It was really, really close. They did a great job of trading calf crusher submissions. I kind of really enjoyed that. At the end of this, we had AJ Styles get eliminated by Drew. I was excited to see these two work together. What were your thoughts of the match?
Yeah, I mean, they had a great match at TLC, and it's good to see him have a good, it felt like about a good 15, 20 minutes of Raw was given to these two. So, yeah, very impressive. A great encounter with these two, back and forth. You felt it could go either way. But, of course, the expected outcome from it, Drew McIntyre did advance further, of course, like you say, defeating AJ Styles. But, no, this was probably my favourite match of the whole, of the entire gauntlet.
Yeah, definitely. It's fun. So, obviously, Drew's going through. AJ Styles is out at this point. We then obviously have match three. This was Drew McIntyre versus Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy kind of tried to get the momentum early. Yeah, this was okay. Nothing special. I think Drew did the best he could. I'm really getting the question. I don't know why Jeff's in this. Unless Jeff's going to do spots on Sunday, I don't really get the purpose of him in this match. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it feels like it's a spot monkey area, isn't it, for Jeff Hardy in this match only? I can't see why else is there. He's not got the momentum going into this match for sure. He wasn't even defeating the likes of Jackson Riker and Elias a few weeks ago. I mean, of course, he won the tag team match, but singles action, he's not really had the best luck going for him of late. So, yeah, I'm not sure why Jeff Hardy's there. When you look at it with him and Drew McIntyre, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. But, I mean, clearly the right result here. Drew McIntyre had to advance to the next stage.
100%. I think if Drew would have lost, I think it would have been really bad here. But moving forward, we then obviously had match four. This was Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. They've obviously had a rematch recently, quite a lot. They've had quite a few matches. This match didn't really get started. It ends up with them about to start. Orton basically goes into the barricade. All the screens of the Thunderdome and then change. It's Alexa Bliss's face and she's laughing. Even above Randy, she's kind of laughing. She looks demonic. Randy ended up getting counted out. For me, I really kind of enjoyed this. This is about time they used the Thunderdome to sort of show images. This is long overdue. Really good work on WWE. And I think this was good. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually remember saying last summer, this is what they should have done with Retribution.
Yeah,
but,
I remember saying that.
It's such a cool looking visual. It looks so cool watching this with Alexa Bliss. And this, politely, forgive my language, but as I said, in January, all the spooky bollocks we had did not work for me at all. But this works perfectly. It's psychological. It draws Randy Orton. It's believable. This works perfectly. And I really enjoyed this. It was a great way to protect Randy Orton going into this Sunday. This is what I call smart booking.
I think it's very smart. I think my only small thing I'd like to see, I'd love to have seen Randy Orton be more angry. He wasn't really that angry, but it's only a small thing, but it was a great way to protect him. And it further sort of builds forward that storyline with the theme and stuff. So credit to WWE, you continue on what you started earlier. And it was great continuity. I've got to give him that.
Yeah, I agree.
We then had the last match. It was Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Drew McIntyre's attacked from behind. And this obviously match didn't go very long. Sheamus ended up getting the pinfall, so a massive win for Sheamus. This is Drew's first loss in ages. I can't even remember the last time Drew lost. So Sheamus is going in at number 6 on Sunday. They're really painting the picture that Sheamus is going to be the favourite going into this Sunday. What were your thoughts of this and Sheamus getting a big win?
I liked it. I have a nitpick. Because as I was watching this match unfold, I had a feeling Randy Orton was going to be number 5 and Drew would find a way to go through, to Alexa Bliss. I want Sheamus to attack Drew from behind, which happened, and I was so happy with that. But I was expecting Drew to turn around, face a bro kick, had been in the match for 25, 30 minutes and just get pinned. I thought you didn't want to have these two interact too much because this is the money match somewhere further down the line. So the fact that they were interacting a bit longer, I felt was giving slightly too much away. But it's a nitpick because if you look at it, the fact that they had a 5-minute encounter, Drew was done. Drew had no way. Sheamus had overcome him by attacking him from behind. He came in the fresh man. Drew McIntyre had been there a long time. He's protected. He could just about, keep going, but unfortunately the bro kick put him down. The right result was given here, the right winner. And I do think, despite the fact I think they could have done less interaction, I still think that this was booked pretty well. And I like the fact that Sheamus is going in as number 6 at the Elimination Chamber, because after all, the main story of this chamber is booked around Drew McIntyre and Sheamus.
Yeah, I agree. I think you make some really, really fun points there. I think the thing with it, as you said, is they did a great job of protecting Drew the whole way through. You want somebody to look strong going into this chamber, so Drew couldn't have won it, so that kind of makes sense. Sheamus obviously getting that. For me, if I'm going to put an early prediction out there, I can see on Sunday. I think Drew's winning this, and I think this will lead to them to having a singles match probably at Fastlane. I'm hoping we're not going to get this at WrestleMania. The only way we will get this at WrestleMania, I'm calling it now, is if Sheamus somehow gets the belt and they want Drew to win it in front of fans. What's your thoughts? You got anything else to add, Steve?
I mean, I kind of agree with you really to a point. I have actually gone for Drew McIntyre to retain the belt. I think with Sheamus being at number 6, I just feel that there's going to be a way that he doesn't win here, but maybe an attack goes on after the match. Something will happen to prolong this feud to get the 1-on-1 match. Like you say, it could be Fastlane, it could be WrestleMania. This has been dragged out since December, so I'm starting to believe this could go all the way to April.
Oh, okay, we'll see. If I was going to give this kind of final thoughts, this was a good go-home show. It did what it kind of needed to do. As I said, we've obviously seen kind of what's going to happen Sunday with a lot of the wrestlers. They did a great job of filling up gaps. And it wasn't really that much. The show seemed to go really quickly for me. I seemed to I enjoyed it. I'll give it a score this week of 7. What's your final thoughts and score, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the last hour of the show was devoted to the gauntlet match. And I must admit, it must be February because we always seem to get these gauntlet matches around the Elimination Chamber every single year. But I would say I think this is the most impactful one since the first one. I mean, Kofi Mania's one in 2019 was decent as well, but I always look at the Seth Rollins one as being the best one they did a number of years ago because Seth really got over overnight due to the gauntlet that was on Raw. Raw has time for these gauntlet matches, and I think the way that it was booked on this show, the fact that they did the transition from Miz to Kofi, everything was well executed, and the main event really took a lot of duration of the night. There wasn't enough time really to focus on much else on the card, but I think the Raw side is very well, set for the card here. They didn't need to make any more matches. They just need to tweak that Raw Women's Championship match. But overall, take the women's match out of there with Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce and the Ric Flair Monarchy. I think you're right. I think the show has to be given a 7. I think this was a good, solid episode. Went fast. I think it's the standard of what you want to see. I enjoyed this show. And like I say, even the stuff with the spooky stuff with Alexa Bliss, this was done very, very well. And I'm much more invested in quite a number of the storylines, more after this show than I was going in.
Yeah, definitely. So this has been Jonesy Chats Wrestling. I appreciate you all for watching if you made it this part of the video. Just before we end the show, Steve, please tell everyone what you got coming up on your fantastic channel as well this week.
Thank you very much, as always. It's really kind of you to say. SCW, the wrestling channel, Elimination Chamber. Predictions is very easy for me to say. Those predictions are coming out today, so you can go and check that out now. And as well as that, also there'll be more videos coming later this week. SCW interviews we've got with DWE this week, so that will be a great interview going up in the next day or two. And as well as that, Vengeance Day, the review is up for people to go and check out now.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of content on Jonesy Chats Wrestling, what we've got this week, we've got potentially an interview on Thursday with Josh. Josh will hopefully be returning and we'll be discussing the new signing of WWE, Harlem Bravado. So that'll be interesting. We've also got coming on Friday, a first ever episode to the channel, USWA, United States Wrestling Association, 1993. This was the first time Vince McMahon turned heel. And this is it's going to be a fun nostalgic watch. We've not done any nostalgic content, so that's going to be coming. And obviously on the weekend, we're going to hit you with I'll be hitting you with SmackDown as always, and you'll get Elimination Chamber thoughts and bets. But if you've made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. This has been Jonesy Chats Wrestling. Please give us a thumbs up. Please leave some comments and interact if you would be so kind. And if you could subscribe, it means the world. And yeah, thank you for watching and thank you for coming on, Steve.
Thank you for having me. Take care. All the best.